We have a pulse in College Station, people, and the electricity that is giving that heartbeat going, giving that rhythm to Texas A&M football is coming out of the right arm of Connor Weigman and the two hands of Evan Stewart. What a combination that could be in the SEC West this year. We're going to react to Texas A&M's spring game that just occurred this past weekend here on Southeastern 14. Hello, everyone. I'm Blaine Gilmer. Welcome to Southeastern 14. If you enjoy SEC coverage, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, then make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Hit that subscribe button, like, turn on notifications. And without further ado, let's get right into it here. Texas A&M had their spring game this year, this past weekend. And listen, there was a lot that you have to take into consideration right off the bat. They were limited to less than 50 scholarship players available for the game. Didn't even have their entire field available for the game. There's construction going on at Kyle Field right now. So listen, there's a lot that you have to kind of take with a grain of salt in these spring games, and especially when you have so many guys limited. Listen, the main thing is there were a lot of starters, projected starters that didn't play in this game. Bryce Foster and Ruben Feathery up front, being two of the more notable ones on the offensive line. Bryce Foster's been out, doing shot put for Texas A&M track, and Ruben Feathery, listen, whether it's precaution or whatever, so they're trying to keep guys healthy, and sometimes that means just not playing them in the spring game. Moose Muhammad didn't play. Donovan Green didn't play. So there's a lot that we're still going to see this team at full strength. We've yet to see the full complement out there of what this 2023 team is going to look like. But what we did see is we saw Evan Stewart on full display, and we saw Connor Weigman be able to go out there and connect with him multiple times. And I thought that even though Connor Weigman didn't have the most consistent day, as we said, a lot of the main targets, weren't there. Noah Thomas left the game with an injury. Raymond Cottrell did the same later in the game. And when you're talking about quarterback and wide receivers in spring games, there's a certain rapport that has to be built up, right? You get a certain amount of reps with each guy, and you maybe know how one guy reacts better than another one to how you want them to run a certain route, maybe how they adjust to a football, things of that nature. It's all timing, it's all rhythm based out there when you got an offense, especially with a new offensive coordinator. Bobby Petrino did think you saw some interesting concepts and some signs of life there as well in terms of the scheme of Texas A&M's offense. I think the running back position is still got some questions in terms of, okay, how is this going to be divided up, distributed, things like that. But I think Amari Daniels, Le'Veon Moss, and Reuben Owens II really all complement each other well and do certain things that the other can't do. Once Texas A&M's offensive line gets up to full strength, Le'Veon Moss is going to be that guy that's going to hammer it in there on short yardage. Amari Daniels, I think, is a guy that, listen, he's from South Florida. He was recruited heavily by Georgia, by other SEC schools, and Texas A&M brings him in there. He's been around now for a few seasons, and he's a guy that I think Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino have a lot of confidence in. Not anything earth shattering in this game, in this spring game, but the main thing is all three of those guys stayed healthy. Now, Reuben Owens is going to be a guy that can be that game breaker. He can line up out in the slot. He can, get a jet sweep if you want him to. He can also just be a true tailback that can use his vision and his cutting ability, which is devastating, by the way, to make guys miss. And then once he gets in open field, he's explosive. So I think you saw some of the glimpses of some of these things. I think if you injected, truth serum into Jimbo Fisher, he would just tell you right now, listen, there is no quarterback competition. Yes, Max Johnson probably even played a little bit better overall in terms of consistency than Connor Weigman did in this game. But Connor Weigman's going to be the guy. And once he has his full complement of, Anaya Smith was out there with a non-contact jersey. Evan Stewart, like I said, was playing. But once he has Moose Muhammad out there, and once guys like Raymond Contrell get a little bit more experience, I think you're going to see this wide receiving core make some tremendous plays out there for Connor Weigman, and he's going to be able to, like Moose Muhammad, you're able just to throw the ball up, and he made so many plays towards the end of the year last year on 50-50 balls. He really came into his own. Defensively, listen, Demani Richardson coming back is huge. We didn't see new transfer corner Tony Grimes in this game. McKinley Jackson didn't play in this game. Defensively, Texas A&M is going to be fine. They've been fine the entire Jimbo Fisher era. Okay, that defense has not been the problem. It's been injecting life on that offense, and I just think that you see absolutely such a playmaking ability and excitement that comes out of every time Evan Stewart has a ball come his direction. You're expecting something tremendous to happen, and I think that's the calling card of a true number one receiver. And not only does he wear number one, but he is that number one talent. And I think Aggie fans have a lot to be excited about when it comes to him and the playmaking ability on the outside. Well, before Noah Thomas got hurt, you're talking about a guy that, Noah Thomas is a good-looking receiver, sophomore that is a big, rangy kid, big catch radius. So, like I said, I'm excited to see what this Texas A&M passing offense can do. You can't forget about the tight end position as well. Donovan Green didn't play in this game, but Donovan Green had a really nice freshman year, and you're going to have Jake Johnson that is out there making plays as well, and Max Wright. So I think outside of Georgia, you could say Texas A&M's tight end room is the best one in the SEC. There's three guys there that are all a little bit different, can make plays. Here's the deal. All this is going to boil down to, is Jimbo Fisher going to be a better manager of the program in terms of keeping guys motivated, managing the roster, keeping on top of the organization, keeping on top of the culture? Let Bobby Petrino do his thing. Let Bobby Petrino go out there and be that guy who schemes up, who gets the game plan going, all that kind of stuff. Now, Jimbo Fisher, you're the head coach. You've forgotten more about offensive football than most of us will ever know. So you can provide input every once in a while and go in there and tweak things if you don't like certain things, but be that CEO, okay? Because college football demands it now. There's so much going on with the transfer portal, recruiting your own guys back to the program year over year, NIL concerns, all this kind of stuff, that a head coach really needs to be that, needs to find coordinators that he can trust and delegate to. And I think doing that with Bobby Petrino would be very, very wise. But I'll say this, I wasn't really high on the prospects of Texas A&M in terms of didn't know how many games could 8 wins, be maybe the max for Texas A&M this year. I'll say this, if Connor Weigman stays healthy, if that offensive line can protect, and I think with Bryce Foster being there and Ruben Feathery being there in the season, if those guys are good to go, also you got a young guy like TJ Shanahan that I think will be able to come in and play some as a freshman. Trey Zune the third didn't play in this game. If those guys up front kind of gel and are able to pass protect and give Connor Weigman time, he has the weapons. Anaya Smith is tremendous in the slot, and you got two bona fide guys out there in Evan Stewart and Moose Muhammad. I think there's a lot to be excited about for the Aggies, and I think I've came out of this spring game, even though I say, hey, you got to take everything with a grain of salt, and you got to realize they're playing vanilla defenses and all that kind of stuff. came away from this very, very positive on Texas A&M and this roster and where things are going. I think this is going to be a much better year for Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies if indeed they can make sure that Bobby Petrino's scheme is being, run to the fullest, and there is no power struggle on that offensive side of the ball in terms of who's calling plays, no drama on that end. Just go forward with it, make things simple, make things easy for the quarterbacks to process, and really get those playmakers the ball out on the perimeter. I think Texas A&M, listen, I think it takes 9 wins at least for you to not have pressure on Jimbo Fisher after the year. I feel much more confident after this spring game that Texas A&M could get to that number. Got leadership over on the defensive side of the ball, of course, with Demani Richardson. And I think that there's a lot to be excited about out of Aggie land down there. So give us your thoughts. Leave your comments here on Southeastern 14. Please subscribe, turn on notifications. And like I said, leave your comments below. Tell us what you think about all the spring games from this year as we head into the summer, and the fall will be here before you know it. I'm Blaine Gilmer for Southeastern 14. We'll catch you guys next time.